Hey guys, I wanted to talk a little bit about creating banners for your pages or just anything you're going to be placing stuff into in in Canvas. One of the easiest ways to make a button or a banner is in Google Slides. You don't need any extra uh, software. It's already there. Everyone has access to this. Um, by all means, there are much more sophisticated ways of creating banners using graphics programs and things like that. But this is really geared toward the beginner who doesn't want to learn a whole lot of new information, doesn't want to learn a whole lot of new programs. This is a way where you can create a lot of cool banners like this. And this couldn't be much easier than it is. So I went in and used Google Slides to create a rounded rectangle banner. Well, it's not a banner, it's a button that I'm using in my classroom or then in my pages that I'm creating. And this is pretty simple to do. So what I'm going to do, if you can download this exact file. In fact, you can download the exact one that I'm working on right now. Rebecca's put this in one of the, I think it's in the presentation that we went with through the department heads or through the different departments. And you can access this. Obviously, you're not teaching statistics. Well, if you are, then you're welcome to use these. If not, how do we make our own? How do we change the colors and things like that? So what I'd like to do is I'm going to duplicate one of these slides. Obviously, if you're downloading this file for yourself for the first time, go ahead and save a copy in your drive. That doesn't automatically do it. And then you can either delete them all at once and kind of start over. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to kind of go in here and kind of design a custom button that would fit something that I would like to do. And I'm not going to be too detailed. I'm not going to be too specific because a lot of people are going to have their own preferences. This is a text box. This is just a graphic I found off the web, and this is a shape. So I'm going to kind of deconstruct these pieces for you, and you can kind of see how they're built out. Yeah, I don't even know what that is. And you can see what I started with was just the blank slide. This comes preloaded in this file. And what I did was I'm just going to go ahead and, well, I'll show you what I did. Up here's the shape tool. I clicked on shape and I wanted a rounded rectangle. The background here is going to be transparent when you export it, so it doesn't matter what's on the background. I like the rounded look to it. If you want a square look, then you can go with any of these shapes for your buttons. It really doesn't matter. I picked the rounded rectangle, and what you do, it's going to ask you, and so I just kind of created it, and I wanted it to be the exact width of my slide. So I'd use the boxes around the shape to get the shape to the right size. And if you want to adjust the curvature of the edges, you can do it like that. If you want a kind of a pill shape, you can do that. You can also drag that back to almost rectangular. It's kind of a preference, whatever you want to do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to change the colors. I really like the gradient look where it's kind of light on top and it goes to a darker color. It gives it more almost a 3D look, not quite, but up here you have the fill color and the border color. I'm going to change the fill color, and you have two choices, a solid color or a gradient color. You could even make it transparent. I'm a little bit about that in just a second. I'm going to take a gradient. I didn't want to go with gold and green because everything I'm going to see is gold and green. So I just had to go black and white or gray and silver, or however you want to look at it. But if you wanted to do something unique to you, then you can choose from any of these particular colors. We could go with the green where it goes like this. We could do a blue, or you could even customize your own colors. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to click the plus, and it's going to say, okay, what do you want to do? The gradient that I'm using is a linear. In other words, it's going to go from one color down to another color. If you used a radial one, it's going to go from the center out in all directions. Maybe you like that. Try it and see what it looks like. I like the gradient ones. 90 degrees. This is just the angle that it's going to go at. I want it to go up, straight up and down. So I'm going to leave that like it is. I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change this color to something else. So I click on this box and I'll change that to, let's say we're going to do some, I like the light to be on top and the dark to be on the bottom, but you could totally reverse that. I'm going to pick a light shade of red and then click on the darker side, which is the bottom side. You can see that how it looks here. And I'm going to go back in and change that. Maybe I want to make that a really dark red. And so you can see it look like this. If it's light on top, dark to bottom, it makes it look like there's a lighting source on the top of your image. So it gives it that almost like a, I guess, sort of a 3D look, not really, but, and I click OK, and you can see that changes here. And I click off, you can see it has a black line. It goes from a lighter shade of red down to a darker shade of red. If you want your line to be darker, thicker, you can change that here. That's kind of a, you can even make it transparent, right? If I don't want a border, I just want it to be the color. You know, you don't want to have to decide what color it's going to be, because your rounded rectangle here changes color. So if you chose one red, then it would also be a thing here. But I think for the most part, what I've done is I've left it that kind of a dark gray color, right? And that's done, right? And that's what I did here. And what I did next was I opened up a text box, right? So I clicked new text box. So I'm just gonna, if you click text boxes here, right? And I just put that text box right on top of my image. And these red lines kind of indicate centers. I'm centered in from top to bottom. If I move closer to the middle, now I'm centered exactly. I have my text box centered exactly in the center, vertically and horizontally. I didn't really care about centering it horizontally. I did want it to be centered top to bottom. And so, don't click off on your text box when you can't see it, or you'll, I think I lost it. So notice what's happening here. I can see my text, but when I put, so as you add things to your slide, it's going to layer them on top of each other. So one of the things you want to do is, I need to make sure that this is in the back, right? This is the back of my button. So what I can do is I can right click and I can click order. I'm going to send that all the way to the back, right? Now it's behind everything else. It's the very bottom thing on my slide. And I can take my text box and place that wherever I want to. I can click on the inside and I can begin to type. And of course, you can add in the fonts you want. If the fonts, now I added almost all of these fonts yesterday. You can click up here and more fonts. It'll bring up a window for you. And you can simply scroll down. There's hundreds of fonts here. You can pick the ones you like. If you'll just click on it and click OK, then it'll add it to your menu of choosing your fonts. The next thing I did was I went out to Google Images and I simply typed in black and white icon for free response or for probability, for normal distribution, whatever topic it is you want, whatever thing you're looking for. And I went out and I found a graphic that was either light or dark. But the good thing about this is when you click on this, you get an option over here to change a little bit. You can take the brightness. This image was originally black. That's when I downloaded it as, right? And I was kind of going back and forth between light font, dark font with the backgrounds, trying to give a little bit of variety to it. And so if you get one that's black or white, you can always reverse that by adjusting the brightness from one side to the next. And that gives you that black and white. Now, if you're looking for colors, be specific when you type and search for that stuff. Type the color in and it should come up. You can also recolor a few of these things, but a lot of times if it's black and white, then you don't get the option for that. So best case scenario is click or search for the color you want. Okay. And lastly, let me just delete that. When I want to finish this out, I'm going to go ahead and I've already adjusted it. I'm going to go back and set it back into the center of my image again. There we go. And then I'm going to take this. This does not need to be centered horizontally, but vertically it does. Okay, I'm going to bring this one also. I'm going to go to the edge and get those 4 arrows and move this. I can see now that red line's in the middle. I'll let go. And now I've got something that's centered. And I can step back and look at it. Like this looks a little bit low. So I can take my arrows on my keyboard, or I can drag it and drop it a little bit. And I can move this to kind of wherever I want it to be. Once you're done designing your colors, your fonts, your images, whatever you wanted it to be, you can go up and you're going to click File, and you're going to click Download, and you want to download the current slide as a PNG. This will preserve the transparency in the background, and it'll allow you to download that as a single image that you can now use as a button, or if you've used the larger files, for a banner. Okay, and that's as easy as it gets. And you can create this file. For me, I've kind of gone through here and just kind of replicated a few of these things and modified them as I saw fit. I really hope this helps out in getting your custom buttons figured out, or even your banners. This should be a real easy way to do that. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me or Rebecca, and we'll be glad to walk you through this or answer your questions. Thanks.